Now, once you've started working, um, are there organizations, perhaps, obviously the Illinois State Bar Association, that you can join that will keep you connected with your profession, and what might those be?
Absolutely. I think that it's very healthy for an attorney to not just sit in front of his desk and work the work that his firm or the government gives him on a daily basis, but it's also good to build relationships with other attorneys, and those relationships frequently lead to fruition in terms of referrals to you of clients, and also collegial atmosphere in the courtroom. There are several organizations, particularly the bar associations. I've had a wonderful experience with the Illinois State Bar Association and the way that they nurture young lawyers, solo practitioners, lawyers in large firms. I think that the Illinois State Bar Association really helps attorneys wherever they may be in their practice. But that's only one organization. There's the Chicago Bar Association, the American Bar Association, and then there are the several smaller town or local bar associations that you can join. And it's a wonderful way to meet new attorneys, build your practice, and really fit in your work environment.
I agree with that. In addition to well, I've been active in the Illinois Bar since you can join as a student.
How much is there? There's dues, isn't there? Or what's
as a student, I believe it's minimal or
complimentary.
Or free.
I think it may be complimentary.
I believe so, and I know it's free for the first year after you pass the bar. I'm for the Illinois Bar. I believe some of the other bars, Chicago Bar, may have a lesser period that's complimentary for your first year. I don't recall how much it was as a student member. I remember participating or joining them because they had some wonderful publications that I was interested in. For most of my career, I have not worked in the city of Chicago. I've worked in Illinois, in the Chicago suburbs. So I became very active in the Illinois Bar. I was on the criminal law section council for, 5 or 6 years, and went through the ranks of that. I was the chair several years ago. In fact, there's not too many female members of that, so it was quite a privilege to be the chair of that committee. Again, being very active in the Illinois Bar. Right now I'm the secretary of the Standing Committee on Women in the Law, and I'm active in the Bench and Bar Committee as well. I've met hundreds of lawyers from throughout the state. I've invited law students to come to the various committee meetings for the opportunity to meet some of the practicing lawyers in various practice fields. It's a wonderful, and the thing about the Illinois Bar, I think, more than any other of the associations I've been involved with, is how friendly everyone is and welcoming. A few years ago, I had the opportunity to get sworn into the U.S. Supreme Court Bar, and I met the president of the bar who moved the group in. And since that time, that president and all the subsequent ones have come to various functions that I've been at. And I think it's the most wonderful thing in the world that the president of the Illinois Bar knows me by name and I can call him his first name. It's a wonderful, wonderful thing, and they represent, 80, 90,000 lawyers in Illinois. I think it's a terrific organization.
We all know that once you get your license, it's a constant struggle to balance your lifestyle. What would you advise for a young lawyer who's just starting out, has got the full-time job, and trying to balance the lifestyle? How do you get away from if there's such a thing, the sleepless nights, if we could? Mackenzie, any idea?
I remember my last year of law school, a professor said to us, he said, my only recommendation to you is that once you start practicing that you buy season tickets to something. And I thought that at the time I was like, why? But he's right, because if it's on the calendar, you'll go to it, or you're more likely to go to it than if you say, oh, I'm going to buy, I want to go to the symphony, I'm going to go this month, it's going to happen this month. And then the month goes by and you've worked and it doesn't happen, or the Cubs game, or whatever your interest is. So I think that's one method to try to maintain some level of sanity, is just to make sure that you've got something in your schedule that's on the books, where it's consistent. And then if by chance you can't go, then it's a good opportunity to network with someone and call up a colleague and offer them tickets to something. So it kind of can work out well either way.
How do you guys balance your lifestyle in the law?
Well, I would advocate developing a hobby, and I happen to have various odd and end hobbies of my own. I think you want to get away from the office in terms of not just being away from the office, but also mentally recharging. And whatever your hobby is, you want to pursue it. As you said, getting season tickets is a great idea. Myself, I love to recharge by going out in my garden and watering my plants every morning, and just that alone makes me, recharges me for the day. I think that whatever you do, you want to keep in mind that you're going to be an attorney for your whole life, and you want to develop a lifestyle that will allow you to do that over the long haul, and not just pursue a life where you will burn out in 5-10 years. And I think that's very important. And several of my colleagues who are successful have wonderful hobbies, have spend time with their children outside of the law, and they're very successful and happy.
I have a niece and nephews I spoil rotten. We have a mutual adoration society. In addition to that, I got an exercise bike a few months ago, and I'm making sure that I dedicate at least 15 minutes every day to just riding that. And I've gotten involved in several other community organizations as well.
Excellent. Once we've got our license, we've got several requirements that we've got to adhere to. One is the minimal continuing legal education. Can someone speak to that and how it impacts our practice?
Well, sure. I would say that that's very important, and here's why. As an attorney, you're going to be part of a profession, and you're going to be bound by a certain code of ethics. And that's really something that distinguishes doctors, attorneys, accountants from other types of jobs. And as a member of the bar, you're going to have to keep abreast of the various changes in the code of ethics. And there are several that happen each year. Now in Illinois, there are required continuing legal education hours that you must take in order to meet your ethics requirements. And those classes will teach you about several ethical points and several changes in the law. And I can tell you, just in my experience viewing certain attorneys who may have had infractions with the bar, it's never the case, or very rarely the case, where an attorney is blatantly dishonest. Most often it's the case where an attorney misses a particular rule, sometimes a rule that may have just been established. So it's very important when you're going to be a member of this profession and a member of the bar to keep abreast of the very changing code of ethics that is in our field.
Right. I think the rules now it's 4 hours of professionalism and or civility every 2 years, and then an additional 24 hours, if I'm not mistaken, of other continuing legal education. And frankly, I'm not sure how we could continue to practice and not keep up on it. So actually I found that it's very easy to get the minimum number of credits that are now required. And again, being involved in the bar associations, frankly, they offer programs fairly regularly between just ongoing programs almost on a daily basis. And you can get them on the web, you can get them in person, you can get them in many number of locations.
Most people feel that once they've got a law degree that they have to practice law. Is that a truism, or are there other areas perhaps that one can pursue with a law degree? Mackenzie?
Yeah, I've got friends that are doing a variety of things. They're working in government, they're working for businesses, they're teaching. There's a lot of things that you can do with your legal career. I definitely think it's certainly not a detriment to anything that you want to get into. I think that as the world becomes more litigious, as businesses become more complicated, there's always going to be a space for people who have law degrees but don't necessarily want to practice as litigators, as transactional attorneys. Also, that's also exemplified because in the fact that law schools have dual degree programs, so you can go to law school and get your JD and your MSW and become a social worker at the same time. You can go to law school and get your MD. They've got a variety, MBA also, JD MBA programs. So I think that law schools are recognizing that a legal education is very valuable in a lot of different fields.
What other areas, perhaps, Daniel, would you
Well, I think
see that
the government would be one. There are plenty of politicians and lobbyists that work daily in either Springfield or Washington, and a lot of them have law degrees. And a great example of government would be our president himself, who has a law degree. And I think a law degree really allows you to have a certain frame of mind that allows you to be successful in a lot of different fields, such as business, politics, psychology, economics. A lot of various different fields would love to have a person who looks at things in a very analytical way, and law school does teach you that. So I think there are several fields. Also judges too. A lot of attorneys after about 15, 20 years will look to become a judge and serve on the bench and see the other side of a case and really make the decisions as to the various advocates who are advocating their position. And I think a final job that a lot of attorneys go to is the teaching side. There are various professor jobs at either the universities, colleges, and other locations which either teach the law or teach other subjects, and having a law degree really helps in those fields.
Excellent. Sandy, what are your experiences?
I'd agree. I know people who are in the insurance field, public relations. When I went to law school, I went at night, and most, as I indicated, a lot of them were moving into a second career. So I had doctors in my class. I had insurance people. I have someone who is involved with a better government organization in Illinois. Insurance litigation, legislation. I think that the best thing about law school is if you know what strengths you have and which area you might want to practice in. You might be a wonderful drafter for contract issues. You might want to be a litigator and be standing on your feet. One of the best things is I think law teaches you a different way to think. Right now I'm working, as I indicated, with Battered Women. It's a nonprofit organization, and our organization covers women who probably make a little bit more than they do for legal aid. But what we sit down and we do is, all right, the decision is yours. If you do this, this is what will likely happen. If you do this, this is what will likely happen. If you do C, this is what will likely happen. Where would you like to go with this? And how can I help you get where you're going, so that you have a broad range of knowledge about all kinds of facilities, programs, finances, things that are available for clients.
And finally, it's very important that we have mentors, don't you think, as lawyers?
Absolutely.
Would you guys agree?
Absolutely.
Excellent. Well, it's been a pleasure talking with you. I hope that the life of a young lawyer has been shown to be varied, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.